Hello, students. Today we are going to read the story of Actaeon in Metamorphoses, Book 3. So, before this story, we had seen the story of Cadmus. In Cadmus's story, we had seen that he does as he is commanded by the patron goddess, and he plants this tit of the snake in the soil, and from that soil germinate a race of warrior who become the race of the Cadmus. For apparent reason, these warriors all start killing each other until only five are left. So these five then make peace with each other and take forward the race of Cadmus. Now, Cadmus tells us about, Ovid tells us about the life of Cadmus, and he says that he is leading a very happy life. And then he goes on to say that Thebes and her walls and Cadmus' exile might have been thought to have brought him nothing but luck. He had married Harmonia, daughter of Mars and Venus, a most prestigious match which had yielded a brood of numerous sons and daughters, and much loved grandsons grown into fine young men. But never forget the accident engine saying, wait for the final day. Call no man happy until he is dead and his body is laid to the rest in grave. Now, finally, here Ovid gives us a clue about what is going to happen in the life of Cadmus, and like what finally is going to be his fate in future, right? So, though he is married to the daughter of Mars and Venus, and their daughter is Harmonia, one of the most beautiful match that one could imagine, and they have got the sons, daughters, and grandchildren as well. Now, so obviously, if we look at the life of Cadmus, that it seems or it appears to be very fulfilling life, and it appears to be very happy life. But at the same time, here is one statement or one line which is given by Ovid, in which he says that call no man happy until he is dead. That means obviously until a man has reached or been buried in the grave, we cannot call the person happy or like he had a very happy life, because still there is some part of life which needs to be led, right? So there is some mystery still left in the life of a person if he is not dead. So this is what he is saying now, or this is what he is going to open up in the story. And he says that now Ovid tells that he had a pretty life, right? But he reminds, don't consider him unhappy until he is dead. He tells us that in Cadmus's case as well, the trouble started when his grandson Actaeon was turned into a stag. Now, story moves a bit advance or forward, and we are shown a new world or a different world by Ovid in his Metamorphoses. Now, the day in question is obviously the day when finally Actaeon is going out for hunting with his friends, along with his friends in the forest. Now, here, they kill lots of animals and the ground is stained with blood. So, there's a lot of killing going on. I mean, Cadmus's grandson Actaeon is like hunting the animals, and he's there with his comrades and hounds who are like trained in hunting. Now, here he just encounters or he just come across a cave because they are like tired after hunting for so long. So he just feels that he should go and go inside that nearby cave, which obviously has spring. But he's unaware of the fact or unaware of the things which is waiting for him inside the cave. So finally, when he enters the cave, he finds that there is Diana, or Diana too had chosen the same day to take bath in that cave or that spring which is inside the cave. But Actaeon is not aware about her presence inside the cave. So he has gone there not with the intention of seeing Diana, but obviously with the intention of having water from that spring which is inside the cave. Now, when he walks in, they are shocked and all crowd around Diana to hide her. That means all the nymphs who were along with Diana try to hide the body of Diana because they are all without clothes, all are naked. Then Diana splashes water on Actaeon because she is annoyed by this presence of men inside the cave, because she doesn't want herself to be seen by any men while she is taking bath. Now, while splashing the water, she just wished that her arrows were ready to hand, but used what she could, caught up some water and threw it into the face of the men. At that moment, when she was splashing the water, she had that desire that she should have had the arrows in her hand so that she could have shot the men immediately at that point. But she was taking bath, no arrow or no bow in her hand. So finally she just used what she could use at that moment, that means the water from the spring, to curse the men who had entered the cave, and it was no one else but Actaeon. Now here, as she splashed his hair with revengeful drops, she spoke the spine-chilling words which warned of impending disaster. That means what was kept in the future, or what was kept in the fate of Actaeon. Now she says, now you may tell the story of seeing Diana naked. So finally, after looking at Actaeon, she is annoyed and says that now you may tell the story of seeing Diana naked, if storytelling is your power. No more was needed. The head she had sprinkled sprouted the horns of lusty stag. So the moment she splashed the water on Actaeon, he started growing horns from his head. Now the neck expanded. That means it was Actaeon was turning into a stag. Now the ears were narrowed to pointed tips. She changed his hands into hooves and his arms into long and slender forelegs. She covered his frame in a pelt of dappled buckskin. Last, she injected Panic, the son of Actaeon, bolted, surprising himself with his speed as he bounded away from the clearing, because now he was running not as a human being but as a stag. So obviously the moment he started running away from there, he was not running actually, but he bolted. It was too fast. So he was surprised by his own speed, because now he was running as a stag. Now surprising himself with his speed as he bounded away from the clearing. But when he came to a pool and set eyes on his head and antlers, oh dear God, he was going to say, but no words followed. Because the moment he looked at himself in the pool, or that still water, he saw that he was no more a human being. He was no more Actaeon. He was turned or transformed into a stag. So this was the curse of Diana, that obviously if he ever wanted to tell the story of seeing or having seen Diana naked taking bath inside the cave, then he will never be able to speak it up. Why? Because being a stag, he won't be able to use his speech to narrate the story. Now finally this happens to Actaeon, and we know that this is a very sad transformation for Actaeon, and obviously as had been predicted by Ovid. So we say that yes, the fate of Cadmus appears to be changing here, because till now he seemed to be all happy, but now his grandson was changed into a stag. Now it isn't long before his own hunting pick his scent. So finally the hunting dog also arrived to this point where Actaeon is running or bounding as a stag. So the moment the hound take the smell or get the smell of the stag, they come to attack this stag. But actually it is not stag but Actaeon, who is their own master, but they are not able to recognize their own master. Soon enough the hounds catch up to him and start mauling him. So Actaeon's friend wonder where he is, because they are not able to recognize the stag or Actaeon, who is now changed or transformed into a stag. They are sorry he is missing the action, because they had been enjoying this sort of hunting till now. That means whenever they used to hunt, or the animals used to hunt down any animal, they all used to clap and enjoy it, right? And at that moment they were missing their friend, because they felt, the comrades, rest of the friends of Actaeon felt that if he had been here, if Actaeon would have been there, then he too would have enjoyed this hunting or this killing of the hounds, right? So they are sorry he is missing the action and cheer on the dogs. Eventually Actaeon dies from his wounds. Finally we see that his own dogs start killing him. They start tearing the flesh of the stag, but they are not able to recognize that it is actually their master. So Actaeon's friend wonder where he is. They are sorry he is missing the action. And then finally when Juno hears about this, she is very glad. Why she is glad? Because obviously she had old enmity with the family of Cadmus. Why? Because Cadmus's sister is Europa, who was abducted by Jupiter. Now she is pleased so long as a descendant of King Agenor, the father of Europa, whom Jupiter carried away, is suffering. Now we just remember the story of Europa and Agenor. Europa was Agenor's daughter, and Europa was abducted by Jupiter in the disguise of bull. And finally when this news of Actaeon's death comes to Juno, or Jupiter's wife, she feels very happy and she celebrates it, because whatever it is, at least she feels that if they are in pain, then obviously she is going to enjoy it, because ultimately they are the descendants or the family of Europa who had dared to attract Jupiter, right? So here this is the story of Actaeon, and then after this we'll move forward to the story, another story which is of Simil. Thank you all.